questions, and one of the others, if you have any different ethnic background you would like to verify yourself with. That's the form that they're coming there. And you have the second person in that household is going to have the same amount of question, with the exception one, it has a swear box, the relation to the household. Are you friend, member, son, daughter, what have you? And that's about it, and they mail it back.
So the statement is, how many questions is it?
10 questions or less.
It's 10 questions.
Or less.
10 questions or less. All right, and it can be filled out by pen or pencil, or
yes,
doesn't
just
matter,
regular pen.
right? And then you mail it back.
Right.
All right. Postage paid on the envelope, or you have to put postage when you mail it back? Do you know?
That I have to get back with you, but I think it has postage paid in the back.
Postage paid on the envelope. Now, I know a few years ago, and I think it was, I don't know if it was in 2000 or after, I received a survey that I had to fill out the cost of my utilities, the cost of my phone. None of those questions will be on this particular census questionnaire this time?
No, if you receive an American Community Survey,
that's a different type of.
It is a different form. It does emanate from the Census Bureau. However, that is the information that is produced on a daily basis, as opposed to the decennial, which we are working on. So you have exactly two different processes. One which is longitudinal surveys that may take a year or up to a year, and they'll rotate among 250,000 people across the country, just to secure data that is demographic, that is important for marketers, that is important in terms of building new roads and the like. But again, all of this is confidential. The information that is turned in, whether it is a daily survey, the American Community Survey, or whether it is the 10-question short form for Census 2010, it's all confidential. We are, by Title 13, instructed that any release of information by us is a $250,000 fine and up to 10 years in prison. So I can't afford, to go to prison. I'm certainly going to honor each and everyone's confidentiality, just as my cohorts are.
So it's just that you're collecting information. In the American Community Survey, you're collecting information that updates how the people in the United States are living.
Yes.
Health-wise, economy-wise, it's demographic-wise. Whereas the census is more so a count of how many people actually live in the United States. And you said that everything on these forms, whether it's the census statement that everybody's going to get, the census questionnaire, or some of us may get the American Community Survey in addition to that 10 question, that 10 questions. Everything on that form is confidential. You don't share that with any other U.S. agencies?
All of it. The way it started, like in 2000, one of each 6 households got the long form, the one you're talking about.
The American
which is about,
Community Survey?
Right. It wasn't an American Community Survey, and back then it was part of the actual form.
That's what I thought.
Right.
Actually, it took me a long time to fill that out, too.
It was 58 questions. Yeah, but in the 2000, one of each 6 households, and they were doing that as a testing, and they found that there's more use for those data if they spin off by itself. So now they have the decennial, which is what we do, one every 10 years, which is 10 questions or less. The other demographic that my colleague was talking about, those actually become the American Community Survey. And some of the community actually, they feel a little preserved about those questions. I mean, too much information they're releasing. But the truth of the matter is that's how the federal government, state, and other municipality make the infrastructure design for the future based on building road, how many people live in the area, the funding for schools, the funding for healthcare, the other demographic that they have. And just to give you an example, we know we have an economic crisis for the last couple of years. And the report that comes from the unemployment, it comes from the American Community Survey, which is the Census Bureau side, not from the Labor Department, because the Labor Department, they count people when they come to receive benefit and when they are off the benefit. But even though some people, they're not receiving unemployment benefit, it still might be outside of the labor work or the labor force, so still unemployed. So they don't have a true snapshot who's actually employed and who's not. However, the American Community Survey addressed that part of it because actually it goes monthly to about 250,000 people across the nation randomly, and they rotate every one of them. So even though they might feel like uneasy about giving those information, but those are important for our daily life, for our municipality and government to make the right decision and infrastructure investment in the future.
Well, you know, the important thing you said, Ed, is that it keeps the information current. Instead of waiting every 10 years to get the demographic information, you're getting it every month.
Right.
You know, you're getting it constantly, and it's confidential. The people are kept confidential, but the information is
right. The
generated.
information only released in a statistical form. Like, for example, they take state of like Bloomfield Hills. They can tell you how many, the population, how many people employed, how many non-employed, how many children under 15, how many people over 25, how many people has a college degree. But they don't give names or any identifiable information. They just give statistical info.
Well, no, that's important to know. How long have we been doing the census? Do you know how long?
23 decades, back to 1790.
1790?
Yes.
Right.
And did we do it in a similar fashion, going canvassing the streets, canvassing the farms?
Once upon a time, yes, canvassing the farms in the apparatus that was horse-drawn buggies or horses back in 1790. But that was the very first census in the United States.
In the United States, and we're still doing it every 10 years
Yes.
at this point. Do you get good cooperation from people with the U.S. Census? Do you have people participate, everybody participates, or do you have some people that don't fill out the forms? And what happens to those who don't fill out the forms, Christine?
We do. As a matter of fact, in Michigan, we had in 2000 a 73% mail-back response rate.
Well, that's great.
Meaning that people did receive their questionnaire and mailed it back. However, if they don't mail it back, there'll be additional times when the questionnaire will be sent out, I believe 4 or 5 times. And if they still don't mail it back, we have an operation called the non-response follow-up operation, where the enumerators will go out and knock on the door and get the information from the household. So that way we have, it's almost a sure thing that we will get the information that we need.
So then are you closer to 100% participation once the enumerators get into the act?
Absolutely.
By that time?
Usually we get everybody counted that we are aware of. And they are, regardless whether they send the form or not, but they're going to be counted. As my colleague said, on March 15, we send you the first form. March 29, if we did not receive that form, April 1st, you're going to receive a second form from us. At April 14, we didn't receive it. April 15, we will send you a third one. And at the end of April, we did not receive it. Come May 1st, somebody's going to be knocking on your door.
You're on my list. You're on my list.
So we do that 4 more times. Come to your door. If we didn't find you, or nobody actually reply, usually they leave a business card, a phone number, or try to talk to somebody there. We ask your neighbors about it. So we're getting the information. We're getting the information. The idea, I believe, it's less intrusive, and it's more adequate for the household. Just fill out the form and just mail it back.
And we want to remind everybody in Bloomfield Township when they get theirs to fill it out so they don't have an enumerator come to their door. But I have a question for you. I have a son at school, away at school at the university, and since you say that your canvassers, your address canvassers go out and they're looking at these multiple family buildings, would his apartment complex where he is, would they be getting a questionnaire as well as the one that I would receive at home? Where would my son be counted?
Your son will be counted where he lives at least 6 months and a day out of the year. Now, if it was efficient for you in your home to talk to your son about combining the data for the parental household, then that would be the override. But generally, 6 months and a day allow for the student wherever they are, unless they have an agreement with their parents.
Okay. So one or the other, but it's based on if they live someplace 6 months or more during the year. But they still might get one at that apartment complex, correct?
Yes.
If you're, you know, if your canvassers are out sending them there. So you